Holmes, Murray has just found a key in the garden.
Thank you, finally. That took forever. I'm not sure if I read these in the last part. If I did, I will cut this out and I will just jump right next to, well, after I finished reading. Well, let's go outside and finally continue with this game. It only took forever, but yes. This ticking is getting on my nerves. If I speak, or if my voice sounds funny, then I'm sorry. I have a tooth infection or a gum infection, something, and it hurts a little bit when I talk. So if I start talking funny, that is why.
Holmes, Murray has just found a key in the garden.
It should be done quickly.
It should be done quickly. What the hell? Okay, so now I'm going to go to the back. And look at this footprint.
I need something. Footsteps, size 10.
Size 10? Jeez. The cellar, maybe? Come on, Holmes, today. Oh, there is no cellar. Wait, where does this key go to? There was a room that was locked, right? Oh, okay. Blood.
Watson, over here.
My God, this man is dead, Holmes.
Oh, there's a man
Brilliant
in there.
deduction. I thought perhaps he was tired and decided to rest under a pile of potatoes, which in turn fractured his skull. Watson, you see everything, but fail to observe. I do not have time for trifles.
Oh, really,
God,
Holmes?
Watson?
You go too far.
Watson, tell Constable Fletcher to contact Lestrade with all haste. Now, I'd like to look around the house.
All right, Holmes.
I recognize this handwriting. This handwriting is identical to the writing on Monsieur de la Mazardiere's visiting card.
What? Please tell me I read all this. Yeah, like I said, if I didn't read it, I'm reading it now. Antiques dealer. Okay.
I need something.
We're going to measure his shoes. Interesting.
Size 6.
Wait, is that like the guy? Like the dead guy?
The station master assured me he clearly saw Mr. Fowlett board the last train to London. But as Constable Fletcher can attest, the body in the cellar is without question that of Horace Fowlett.
Just
Do you
as I
have the
thought.
station master's statements there in your notes, Watson?
Of course. And be sure that...
It is neither the right place nor the right time to talk about this. We must hurry. I fear if we do not act promptly and with all haste, this second dead body will not be the last. Let us return to Baker Street. It seems to me that we have gathered all of the key elements, Watson. However, before we retire, let's summarize our findings. The questions should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
I hate these bits. Okay. Did Horace Fowler receive a caller the evening he was supposed to leave? Yes. I believe that's what that was. Someone at his place at nightfall. Yeah, I think that's right. Were all the guests in the ballroom at the time of the shooting? No. Where is it? Oh my god, where is it? Where's the letter? Where's the letter? I'm pretty sure it's this, but I have no idea. No. Did they have a good relationship? Don't think. Got on very well. No, this one. Was Horace Fowler aware of the problems between Herman Grimble and Sir Bromsby? Yes, this letter. Was there anything missing from Horace Fowler's house? Yes, there's a pillow. Did somebody enter through the window at Fowler's house? Yes.
We must have made an error, Watson. Let's check her out. The questions should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Okay, I am not sure about this one. I think I'm missing something. She noticed only 2 people absent from. Ah, okay, so it's this. I don't know.
We must have made an error, Watson. The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Oh.
We must have made the question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Oh, well, according to, the cheats, this is what I'm supposed to be putting down. You still have a good relationship. Answer no. Herman Grimble, Sherringford Hall, 15th of October. That's what I put down. Were Horace Fowler. Answer yes. Justify select letter from Bromsby to Fowlet. Oops. Oh, that one. What? Why that one? But okay, I thought
It is simplicity itself, Watson. We have answered all the questions.
Okay then.
We shall examine the evidence acquired yesterday. A wood trinket, substance from Fowlet's washstand, and the gloves I found at Sherringford Hall.
Got it.
We shall examine the evidence acquired. Let me study this more closely. A very fine white cotton. Let me study this more closely. I recognize the style of this trinket.
Okay.
Let's examine it under the microscope. Greasy substance. Very interesting. I could not wait for you much longer. We have but a brief moment to discuss your notes before joining the inspector at Sherringford Hall. Poor Lestrade must have spent a terrible night.
My word, Holmes, even you have admitted that this case is uniquely perplexing and difficult.
You are, of course, correct. I still have not arrived at a reasonable and definite explanation of these events. You see, Watson, our success lies entirely in our ability to sift through the vast amounts of facts and evidence we have at our disposal and discern which items are of true significance. We cannot allow ourselves to be blinded by the superficial logic of forced hypotheses. We also must not overlook the trifles, as by their very existence they can destroy the most solid of theories. Watson, consider this. All persons intimately involved with the preparations for the reception knew the precise position Sir Bromsby would occupy on that stage. We must remark that they had this knowledge for at least a week beforehand. Numerous experts have made much of the fact that the deadly shot was of unnatural precision. We have also learned that Horace Fowlet was a renowned expert on all types of mechanical devices and automatons. Then Fowlet is found dead a mere 2 days ago. These facts give rise to a serious line of inquiry.
I find your deductions quite probable, Holmes.
But how can we explain the guest list with notes? Any probable theory about these events must correspond in all ways, including the smallest of details. Watson, I have a general idea of what you discovered during your return to the Flatham railway station. Please correct me if I get any detail wrong. You learned from the station master that several minutes before the arrival of the last train to London, two men entered the station one after another. First, there appeared a tall man clothed as a worker. His hat was lowered to hide his eyes, his right hand bandaged. He took a place in the right corner near the platform. A few moments later, Horace Fowlett came in and sat down on a bench. He spoke briefly with the station master and by all appearances seemed to be freezing. I can add that you have probably learned that the station master began to work in Flatham only 4 years ago. The rest you can tell yourself.
Really, Holmes, you were right concerning the information I received from the station master. When I entered the railway station,